Alright, Zerkers, we talked about volume, frequency, and now we're going to talk about recovery at your equals. If you don't recover, you're not going to be able to make progress, because if you hit another workout in your frequency program and you're not recovered, you're not fully recovered, you're not 100%, you're not 101%, you're not going to be able to either replicate your last session, or you might just replicate your last session but you're not going anywhere, and you might do that over and over for weeks, months. I've seen years go by and nothing happens, you know. So recovery is super important. How do you manage your recovery? Most importantly, food, calories. You gotta get a caloric surplus to give your body the building blocks it needs to get stronger, to build those tissues. They're not just gonna come out of thin air. If your body doesn't have the fuel, if it doesn't have the nutrition, it's not gonna build anything. In fact, it's going, I know everyone talks about, oh, I don't want to go catabolic, bro. Well, you're gonna be really catabolic if you don't get your caloric needs every single day. So basically, that's where your fat burning comes in. You go into a caloric deficit, and I mean, hopefully you keep up with your protein, keep up with your fats and your water, hydration, so you can maintain your muscle. So if you're hitting it hard to build strength, to build muscle, you need a caloric surplus so your body can build the tissues. And of course, there's gonna be some fat, but there's also gonna be muscle. That's your first step in recovering. Now, of course, volume and frequency go into your recovery. Now, another thing that goes into your recovery is sleep. You gotta get your sleep in. Why do you think babies sleep like 20 hours a day or something like that, however long they sleep, and they grow every single day? It all comes from all that sleep they do. Now, I know as adults, adult males, we can't sleep 20 hours a day, and if we did, that'd be counterproductive. So basically, you want to get, I'd say, a minimum of 7 hours. I always feel good on 7 hours. I feel good on 8 hours. 9 hours is kind of pushing it. I feel kind of stiff. Like if I lay in the bed for 9 hours, I feel super stiff, feel super tight. But sometimes it happens, you know. I don't really have a set schedule. I don't have to wake up at any particular time. Sometimes I'll lay there for 9 hours, and it is what it is. Sometimes your body will let you know, hey, you might need the sleep. But for you guys who have to wake up early, go to work, all that stuff, you got to get a minimum of 7 hours. It's really recommended you get 8 hours, but I know how it is. You can squeak by with 7. If you get a high quality sleep, 7 hours. And of course, micronutrients. You gotta eat your spinach, eat your beets, get some fruits in, bananas, of course. You gotta get your micronutrients on point. Eat some fish a couple times a week. Salmon is my preferred fish for micronutrients. Of course, all the healthy fat, omegas. So those are your building blocks of recovery. So if you made it this far, like and subscribe. This is my third set with 255. My last session I did 250 for a 5x5. This time it's 255. we got set number 4 with 255 pounds. Another thing about recovery, I went into the macro recovery, the big picture of recovery. But then you got micro recovery. When you're building strength and you're hitting these heavy sets, you want to rest long enough. Like, you can't just rest for a minute and a half and expect for your muscles to be totally recovered to hit the same set at a certain percent of your 1 rep max. That is pretty intense. So you want to rest for 3 minutes, sometimes up to 5 minutes. If you're really going all out on squats, you're probably going to want to rest for 5 whole minutes before you can hit that next top set, especially for a 5x5. That's why that program might take a longer amount of time. Sometimes I'll squat for a whole hour. So that's set number 4 with 255. For all you beginners out there, you're the lucky ones because your recovery is pretty off the chain. That's why you see a lot of programs for beginners that will have you work out full body 3 times a week. That's because when you're first starting out, to be honest, you're not that strong. And that's not a bad thing. You have to start. You have to be a beginner. Everyone has to be a white belt once in their life. So the reason for this is your intensity. It's not going to be through the roof. Like when you see me doing a 5x5 on squats with 315, the intensity is through the roof, and the stress on my nervous system is crazy. So that's why, as a beginner, you're not going to be lifting as heavy. So there's not as much stress on your whole body. You might be benching with 65 pounds, just a 10-pound plate, just a chip on the barbell. And, you might do those for sets of 8. Really nothing too intense, right? Of course, it's all relative. But as far as your whole body and your whole structure goes, it's not very heavy in the first place. So this is why a beginner can get away with training full body 3 times a week. That's why all the beginner programs are ABA, BAB, or just straight 3 times a week, 1 day on, 1 day off, 1 day on. And you're most likely going to be doing squats, bench, barbell rows, maybe a couple overhead press, and maybe a couple bicep curls or tricep push downs. You're going to rotate out your deadlifts with the barbell row, and you're going to call it a day as a beginner. As you work your way up to intermediate, advanced, you're going to have a little bit less frequency, but your intensity goes way up. So if you made it this far, like, subscribe. I upload at least 3 times a week. I've been busy the past couple days. So this is going to be my 5th set, 255 pounds. And then we're going to roll into our overhead press. overhead press is pretty boring, so I'm gonna try to make it interesting here and just do push press. We got 185 racked up. If you've been keeping up with my training vlogs, you know this is a reach right here. So I'm gonna try to make it fun, try to make it interesting. Can I push press 185? I'm getting desperate here to get this overhead press to go up, and I'm getting impatient. So we're gonna push press and try to do like a montage cut epic video log